Hello, everybody. Hopefully you all are on board now. I see 9 of you. So if you could send me a quick message and let me know you're on with me under the questions part. I am Wendy Pickett from Pacific Northwest Aesthetics Academy. So if those of you who don't know me, I am the CEO and certified aesthetic lead instructor. So I'm so glad that you guys are online. Sorry that took me a little while. Today we're going to talk about social media and some other things that go into that. And I know some of you have already have your business well established, and maybe you've already started down the road of marketing, not only internet marketing, but also social media marketing. So we're going to talk about how much you should pay, if you should pay anything, kind of all those things. So I've got a lot to cover, and I could probably talk on the subject for 2 or 3 hours, especially with discussion. So I'm just going to start from the basics. And yes, if you have any questions, pop them up, but if you can, save them till the end, because I think a lot of your questions will be answered eventually. So at the end of, I'm going to try to make it 45 minutes. So we have 15 minutes for discussion. And I apologize for the blinging of my phone, but I just, we were having a problem getting everybody logged in. So I wanted to make sure that you could contact me by text. So here we go. Let's talk about social media marketing and marketing in general, especially for the aesthetic provider. And we are really different. We have quite a little niche for our industry. So I think that getting all the information that you can for marketing in general is really good, and then streamlining it for our little aesthetics niche. So when I start talking about business and marketing during our training classes, and we try to incorporate an element into that of everything we train on, whether it's basic injectable, where we spend an hour-ish talking about the business aspect of aesthetics, or during our advanced courses or NovaThread courses, whatever we do, we always talk about some business type training. So, and everybody really is at a different point. So let's start all the way at the very beginning as if you're a new provider. And you'll hear a lot of people talk about SEO, and SEO is search engine optimization. So that means a consumer, a patient, is using a search engine, and that's how they're trying to find you. And so how I like to think about it is you are the planet Earth. Your website is the planet Earth, and all these other factors, these social media, and if you're choosing to do some sort of traditional marketing like newspaper, radio, TV, all these other entities are the planets circulating planet Earth, rotating around planet Earth, and we're all trying to send our aliens, let's call them the consumers, are coming from all these different planets to planet Earth. That's where you want people to go, to your website. And how you do that is by search engine optimization. Your SEO can be organic, and that means you don't pay a dime. And I'm going to talk about how to do that today. And then we'll talk about how much, if you should pay for any of those services. So the organic searches is why we have Facebook, and it's why we have Instagram. It's all these different social media things are going to feed into our SEO. But first you need to start with your website. So even if you're an independent provider and you don't have a website, you need to get a website. That's on your to-do list today, number one thing you need to do. So when thinking about your website, you want to make it spectacular. The first thing you need to consider is your name. It's going to be your brand. It's going to be why people come to you first. Might be how they search for you. And thinking about this brand of your website, it's also going to flow into your Facebook and your Instagram, your Snapchat, your YouTube, your Twitter. All those things are going to also share that brand. So think about that. If you don't even have a name of your office yet, what's most appealing to consumers, what's going to draw in people you're going to capture in that net, is something that incorporates what you do. So people aren't going to go online and search for Wendy Pickett nurse or Wendy Pickett. If I call my office just my name, I'm going to miss a huge bunch of those consumers who might come to me if they search for optimization and, or sorry, not optimization, if they search for aesthetics, beauty, those kinds of things. So think about that when you are creating your name. So one of my favorite examples is Wendy Jacobson, one of our instructors and colleagues. The name of her practice is W Aesthetics. So clearly she does aesthetics. Other side of that is an office I used to work for in Portland called Thrive. When I said, who do you work for? I work for Thrive. Well, there's a lot of different businesses out there named Thrive. So when somebody goes in and Googles Thrive, all these other businesses come up too. Yes, they have a more broader explanation of their name after it, but if you can really streamline your name into specifically what you do, mentioning the services that you provide, health and wellness, aesthetics, wrinkles, something. I like beauty. I think beauty is really all encompassing. I think wellness is really all encompassing too, and really holds together that philosophy that we have of treating the patient more holistically. So once you have that in mind, I use a site to buy my domain names. It's called whois.com. Super easy, super inexpensive. You can search for your domain in there, use several different variations of your domain name in there, and that's going to be your website. That's where your consumers, your potential patients are going to go. So other key things to think about with your website: it needs to be engaging. It needs to be appealing. And things that make it engaging and appealing is having the information that your patients are looking for right off the bat. So who you are, what you do, how to contact you. Other things that make a website appealing are lots of pictures, before and afters, good ones, are always key and draw people into you. Colors of your website. People like to look at pretty stuff. They also are attracted to the color blue. So that's why the Facebook logo, the F, is blue. It's also why we have chosen blue as our primary color, and then we use variations of that on our website, in our office, for all the marketing, all the logos. Everything that we do is that nice, soothing, appealing blueness color. The other things you want to think about on your website is making it content rich. So having some text on there that explains what you do, describes how you do it, and using those terms that people are going to search for. So that's how people find your website. You'll bump up in that organic search if you're using terms like Botox or neuromodulators, dermal fillers, body contouring, wrinkles, skin texture issue, all those things you're going to want to put onto your website. Now, your website doesn't have to be broad like ours. We have, I don't even know how many pages are on our website now. One page is all you need if you're a brand new independent provider, and just go from there. It's called a splash page. I'm sure a lot of you have heard me talk about splash pages before, and some people are like, oh, what's a splash page? So one page is all you need to start with, and then develop your website from there as you grow. People can do a website. You can do it completely on your own. Hosting the website is minimal cost, so you can literally do your own website. WordPress is a very common website creator that you can use. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So I caution you, when you're looking for somebody to develop your website, choose somebody you know is good, because it's going to cost you more hassle in the long run if they're not good. I always direct people to who I've been working with for 8 years, the Savvy Agency in Bend. They're amazing. They just developed a splash page for my kids' construction site, cost $1,500, and it incorporates everything I just talked about. The one thing that is also key on your website is a call to action, where if you're using online scheduling, you can hit the schedule online. It'll take you to, if you're using MindBody, for instance, it'll take you to MindBody and your patients can schedule right there. Or if you're not using an online booking system, you can hit a contact us and it'll open up an email. so that your potential patients, your consumers, can contact you by email. This is a really good way to develop communication on your website and to capture those people that you're trying to attract to your work, to what you do. That's what it's all about, is getting people to come to you. I discourage having links on your page that are going to send your potential patients somewhere else. Even if it's, say, I want people to know I do NovaThreads, I want them to find out about NovaThread, so maybe I send them off to novathread.com. The negative piece of that is on novathread.com, they have a list of other providers who also offer NovaThread. So by sending them away from my website, I may be sending them away as a potential customer because maybe there's a provider that's closer to their house or has a more appealing website or whatever. So try not to send people away to a different website. If you want them to look at information or have some more information about what you offer, then incorporate that actually into your page. And how you do that is by having a blog. A blog does two things. It tells people what you do, and it creates this open communication. People will feel like they know you personally. A blog you can do daily, you can do weekly, you can do it monthly, but it's a way to keep updating your website too, which is also very key in search engine optimization. We update our website probably once a month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month. It's keeping that information relevant and fresh. If you have just a static splash page that doesn't do anything, you're going to bump down. Your SEO is going to go down. And when people search for you on Google or Safari or Yahoo, you're going to come up on page 2 or 3 or 4. You want to come up on page 1, and you want to do it organically. And by updating your website frequently with fresh and relevant content, you're going to do that. So if you want to look at my kids' construction page, it's a really simple splash page. It's called molarSandandGravel.com. Those are my children. I'm very proud of them. And I help them develop that website. And then the Savvy Agency is located in Bend. And if you Google them, you can get their contact information. And they're really easy to work with. So this is our website. Now we're going to get into social media. So once you have a website, that's when you start developing your Instagram and your Facebook. These are our other 2 biggest planets that are surrounding planet Earth. And the awesome thing about Instagram and Facebook is that they're connected. They talk to each other, and they talk to planet Earth, and planet Earth talks to them. So we've got this nice ebb and flow of consumers who are finding you from multiple locations. So when starting your social media campaign, most everybody starts with Facebook. It's very professional. You have your pictures when you started, all your about information. You can upload pictures. People will frequently go to that. So and it's a huge marketing component because it's going to send people to your website. But even if you don't have a website, it's going to generate some clientele for you. And how I saw this was when I left Complete Beauty Med Spa, which also has a beautiful website, and I decided just to have my own little practice. And I don't market it at all. I don't intend to attract new patients to it. I have just my regulars who come and see me at a little office in Astoria. When I started that, I realized I don't want to dump a bunch of money into this. I have my own gift. It just didn't make sense. And I had plenty of people. I didn't want to market it. Plenty of patients. But what I did do was I created a Facebook page so that my patients that I already have, they can go there, they can contact me through Facebook if they want. And what that also did, though, is it brought me up in searches. So it hasn't been a lot of people. If I really wanted to market Astoria Aesthetics, I would have a website and I would be doing frequent updates and I'd be doing all those things I'm telling you about today. But I haven't been doing that, and I'm still getting new patients. And they call me and they're like, is this Astoria Aesthetics? And I'm like, how did you find me? And they Google Botox, Astoria, Oregon, and my Facebook page comes up. It's that simple. So while a website is hugely important while you're trying to attract new patients and build your practice, simply having that Facebook alone is also going to bring you some flow. I want you to be monumentally successful. So having all these elements in place is going to do that, is going to help you succeed and to make your profit margin beyond your wildest dreams. So your Facebook also, where your patients can post reviews, they can check in, which is a really cool thing. So your patients will go to your office and they'll hit check in, and they'll know that everybody on Facebook that follows you will see that that person has checked in, that you're actually attracting business. It's free. You can post your events, which is really fun. It still is our oldest. It's been around since 2008. And that's when I started working with Facebook, and the things that they've been implementing are really beneficial to the business owner. Yes, there's some negativity there, but for the most part, it's going to be a definite asset to your business. So Facebook, and then along comes Instagram. And Instagram has not been around for as long. It's very similar to Facebook. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to, once you get your website created, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to kind of keep that up. You got your website, there it is. Facebook and Instagram, you have to kind of update things and keep things fresh. And how you can do that the most time efficient way is by posting something on Instagram and sharing it on Facebook. They're connected. They will talk to each other, which is awesome. You can't post on Facebook and share it to Instagram. Now, Instagram is an app that you will download on your smartphone, but you can also access it from your computer. On Instagram, you can post videos, you can post pictures. The biggest days to pay attention to your social media, if you do no other days of the week, if you are not like me and post something every day, or try to post something every day, Monday through Friday, Tuesdays and Thursdays are your biggest social media day. So if you only have time to post twice in a week, do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when the most traffic is. People are paying the most attention to social media. The other thing about Instagram is you can post videos. You can post 1-minute clicks and 1-minute videos, or you can go Instagram Live. You can also do Facebook Live, which is really fun. I love it when I'm following different offices and they have a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live. I like to see stuff in action like that. And you want to make your Instagram page really engaging. You want to have people follow you because you're fun to watch, or they like to see the information that you're presenting. The Instagram pages that I stay away from, or that I don't find engaging, are those ones that post inspirational sayings every single day. I mean, 1 or 2 are fine, but every single day, that's all they're giving me. I want content. I'm going to scroll through Instagram for maybe 30 minutes. And if it's engaging, I'm going to hang out on that Instagram page, and I'm going to, as a consumer, I'm going to feel like I have a connection with that person or that office. So having a little bit of video content is really attractive to the consumer, but your before and afters are very attractive to them as well. And when you're doing your before and afters, make sure they're good. One thing that we always talk about is making sure all the blood is off of somebody's face before you take a before or after. I think everybody knows that, but just a reminder. The other thing about before and afters is make sure the people that you're trying to attract know about everything you do. So don't post about the 11s that you can get rid of with your neuromodulator every single day. If that's all I see on your Instagram feed, that's all I'm going to think that you know how to do. So if I'm going to somebody and I'm looking for body contouring, and then I see that they also do all these other things, then that's going to make me feel like I want to go to them versus somebody who only posts the same thing, maybe just lips, every single day. So make sure and make it a variety of what you have to offer, because we all are trying to create this big umbrella, this one-stop shopping concept. So make sure and post things that give a variety of examples of what you do. Patient testimonials are also really good to post on there, and your specials are really good to post on there. And remember, all these things on Instagram, you hit one button and it says share to Facebook, and off it goes. So you're bringing people from Facebook to your Instagram to Facebook, and both of those things are going to your website. So all this information is linked on all those different planets. So other things to think about with Instagram are your name again. So if you have your own entity, if you're an independent provider, having your Instagram name be that same thing is key. Also having the word aesthetics or beauty or something like that. So if you work for somebody else, having your own Instagram page is also huge. Now, your personal Instagram page, which I have for friends and family, is just called Pick It Wendy. Feel free to follow me there. It's a public page, and only because our pages talk to each other, right? It's a public page, but really all I have are pictures of my kids and stuff. So when people follow me on there, I'm like, oh, well, that's cool too, because as consumers, as patients, we want to know our providers. So my content on there is about me, and it's politically correct, but it is really a way for my patients to get to know me a little bit better, which is why it's public. So your Instagram page can be public or private. If it's your business page, it's got to be public. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You don't want people to have to request to follow you, so make it public. It's also a way for you to follow other people and see what other people in the industry are doing. So let's go back to names of your Instagram. So making them not Pick It Wendy, because nobody's going to like scroll through Instagram and look for my name, but things like, there's some that I really like, O-Shot by Lindsay. So clearly by her name, Lindsay specializes in the O-Shot. So any patient, anybody on Instagram, if they're searching for O-Shot by Lindsay is going to come up. Beauty Nurse Stephanie, I love it. Nurse Injector Jessie. I mean, there's just any variety. Make sure that your business name, even if you're working for another entity, has something about aesthetics in it. Maybe there's something you really specialize in. I guess if it were me, I'd be Tear Trough Wendy. So anybody that's searching for tear trough treatments or trainings, they'd find me, which I think I should probably do today. Anyways, so having that name in there of what you actually do, making it more specific so people can find you and then follow you because it's what they dig. Then that's really good for the provider and the office, because on the office's Instagram page, they're going to see oh my gosh, so they're going to be at Spa Trouvé, which is a great Instagram that I love to follow there in Utah. So Spa Trouvé has a very, very active Instagram account, posts things daily, if not multiple times a day, and it's engaging, it's fun. They use Boomerang, they have a lot of color, and they have a lot of glam, but they also have really great content in before and after. So Spa Trouvé, Trouve, to have a good example of a very successful, popular Instagram page that is doing what it's supposed to do. So Spa Trouvé has several injectors. So you'll see before and afters by O-Shot by Lindsay, and she'll be tagged in there. It'll say at O-Shot by Lindsay. From that, I can hit O-Shot by Lindsay, and I can go to O-Shot by Lindsay and see the other things that she does. She does much more than just the O-Shot. But Beauty Nurse Stephanie is also there. So I can go, oh, Beauty Nurse Stephanie, and I can go over to her Instagram page and see what she does. Same thing at Beauty Nurse Stephanie. If I'm on her Instagram post, I will see that she works at Spa Trouvé. So here I am, a newbie to Instagram, and I want to have some beauty treatments done, and I search in beauty, maybe I search Utah, and this Beauty Nurse by Stephanie comes up. Knowing that I can make an appointment at Spa Trouvé with Beauty Nurse Stephanie is how that all works. So it's this free back and forth, easy marketing tool between my employer and myself. So it's just a really good way of free marketing for both. Moving on from that, so how do followers find you? By searching for you. There's also networking on there. There's educational things. There's also social media influencers on Instagram. More so that you don't really see that on Facebook, but you'll see influencers on Instagram. And as you grow bigger and bigger and bigger, that might be something that you think about. Celebrities that live in your area who will do an Instagram post and tag your business or tag you in it. That's what an influencer is. So that is something that you may hear more common. Most of the time, influencers want either free services or they want money to be a social media influencer. It is not something that I think that a brand new practice must do, but I haven't seen the benefits of that in our practice. If we have some, we tried to get Lady Gaga to come to our office last year when she was in Portland, and I didn't hear from her. But if I had, that would have been an example of an influencer. So if she'd come to our spa, of course, we would have given her any free service she had wanted. And just by Lady Gaga mentioning us, Lady Gaga's like a bazillion followers. So by just having her mention us would have been like priceless marketing. But you may know other people also thinking about connectors. So people that you know who also connect very well. The Tipping Point is a book that I talk about a lot. That's a really great resource for marketing. Talks a lot about connectors and those patients that you have. Maybe you have a patient who just is maybe a realtor who's got a bazillion followers on their site. And if you can get that friend to come in and give them free services for a mention on their Instagram, that's going to be a huge marketing ploy for you. So let's see, what else about Instagram? Hopefully, and it's pretty easy once you start playing around with it to figure out all the ins and outs. I always suggest you find a millennial to help you. This is all free again. We haven't started talking about the stuff that's going to cost you money. This is all free. You can do it yourself. Is it time consuming? Yeah. But once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and my first 30 minutes while I'm having coffee, waking up, I'm on Instagram and I'm looking at stuff. And I'll be taking pictures during class or during treatments or just recording different stuff throughout my day and saving it, knowing that I'll use it for Instagram sometime later down the road. So it's really not that hard. It's not something that you have to plan for in your day. So let's talk about some of the other social media things out there that we hear a lot too. And on your website, you're going to have those little icons that say, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and have all these different things there so that people are going to know there are other social media outlets to follow you on. So on Snapchat is one of them that is where you'll find the most influencers. So if that's the route you want to go, the influencers on Snapchat is kind of the key thing. Snapchat is very quick. It's you have a group of people, you're sharing your snaps, where you're at, this and that. It's not huge for from a business perspective unless you have an influencer on there who's snapping about your business or their treatment. So you'll see somebody doing a quick video snap of like the lash extensions that they got at a Beauty by Rachel. So Snapchat is really good for that. It's more of a social rather than a marketing thing, but it can be quite successful. So if you're on Snapchat, it's something where you definitely want to mention your business, etc. Moving on from that, Twitter is also a good networking. Twitter and LinkedIn, really good for networking. So also for content, like just seeing what's happening around. Influencers will also use Twitter. They'll mention you in their Twitter feed, or you can mention stuff in your Twitter feed that you can then link to your other things. We're not huge on Twitter. There's also several services out there, and I'm sorry I don't have the names of any of them, but this is also something that you would have to pay for, but they will take whatever you post and they'll post it to Instagram and they'll post it to Facebook, and then they'll also post it to Twitter and LinkedIn. Like they'll post it to everything you want. That's a paid service. We like to get things for free, and that's the beauty of social media, is you can do it for free. LinkedIn, I encourage you all to get on LinkedIn just to let people know what you're doing out there. Networking, it has some really good articles, and it's free. And then Bevel is something I talk about a lot too. It's B as in boy, bevel, like the bevel of a needle, B-E-V, V as in Victor, L. So that used to be a free app. You may have to pay for it now. It started off pretty big and broad, where you could just network and talk to people and ask questions, in a nice community for providers, for aesthetic providers. And it still is, but I must be grandfathered in because I haven't paid for it. So if you have to pay for it, I'm not so sure it's worth your time, because there's lots of other networking opportunities out there to talk to providers and ask questions and things. You can do that on Instagram. You can direct message people on Instagram. On Facebook, you can send messages back and forth. So those are all free. And then YouTube is also just a really cool social media platform now. Didn't used to be, but you can find anything you want on YouTube. So having videos that you can post on YouTube, educational, informational, hopefully this broadcast will be posted on our YouTube channel, and we'll be adding to that content more and more and more. So when somebody first learns about you and what you can do, they want to know everything about you. So if they have these multiple different outlets to go to, especially if you're creating really engaging content and they can connect with you, YouTube's a really good place to do that. So Yelp kind of comes into another social media sort of platform. Yelp is also free to get your business on Yelp, and I encourage you to do that, but I also encourage you to do that with a little bit of trepidation, because your consumers can go onto Yelp and they can post reviews about you. Facebook's really cool. Your patients will post reviews, and if it's a negative review or 2-star, 1-star review, you can speak back to that, and you'll see it on Facebook. And it's a really good way, again, to interact with your patients, especially for somebody who maybe just feels like they didn't get what they wanted, they're disgruntled in some way. You can actually have that back and forth, and it's public. Everybody can see it. So the difference between that and Yelp is that unless you pay Yelp for a premium service, you don't have that kind of opportunity to reply back to a bad review. And I hate to use the word extortion, but it's almost kind of like that, because I've come across people who are like, I don't know what to do about this bad review I got on Yelp. I can't make it go away. I can't answer to it. They called Yelp and they said, I don't know if you can call Yelp, but somehow they interacted with Yelp and they said, I can't do a public rebuttal to this review. It's not cool. And it keeps coming up first on this review feed. And Yelp is basically saying, well, if you upgrade to a premium status and pay us, then we'll let you answer to that review. So people do go to Yelp a lot, and unfortunately, consumers put a lot of trust in Yelp. But I guess I'm just hopeful that consumers are becoming more savvy, that there are people out there who will just get on Yelp and say all kinds of negative, crazy stuff about you. And those reviews, when I read them and I think, that's a crazy person who just wrote that review. So I hope that all consumers are starting to take those Yelp reviews with a grain of salt. So just be really cautious with Yelp. Then let's go way back to TV, radio, mailings, things like that. So this is outside of the social media realm, but a lot of us still remember those days. And TV is definitely a way to reach consumers. It's not as big as it used to be because of the onset of Netflix and Amazon and all those things. I see commercials in the morning when I'm having my 6:30 cup of coffee, watching the local Portland news channels for different offices around the Portland area. And they're glitzy and they're glamorous and they look good. And they may be reaching a small population of people, and that's who they hear about. But it's costly. Like, there's a reason that these commercials are on at 6:30 in the morning. I don't see them during the Good Morning America broadcast. I see them during the local news broadcast because they are much less expensive than primetime network television. Radio and mailings just don't work. Just don't do them unless you have a ton of liquid assets and you want to dump it into your radio and your mailings. It doesn't work. The radio personality endorsements, which I hear them and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Those are expensive too. We were approached last year by a radio personality who pitched us this offer about coming in and getting free services, and then she would talk about us on radio, and I'm like, oh, that all sounds really good. It was to the tune of $15,000 or something like that. So I'm all for endorsements, and I love the idea of influencers, but if it's costing me $15,000, then I'm gonna pass. Organic searches doing things the natural free way back in 2005, I started working with the online book business and learned so much about free marketing. It takes a little effort, and it's not easy as you're learning, but just looking at different things, seeing what other people are doing, finding an Instagram site that you really like and doing what they do is just the easiest way to figure it out. Asking for help from people who know how to do it, your teenagers, your 20 to 25-year-olds, just paying attention to all that stuff and keeping it relevant, keeping it fresh, and doing it often are things that are going to drive people to your website, to Planet Earth, where they're then going to make an appointment with you and you're going to see your business just explode. So let's talk a little bit about now paying for things. So we are no longer just an organic search. We don't do things the completely natural way because we're a national company. So our reach is much farther than the provider who's in the Portland, Eugene, Medford, state of Oregon region. We really need to reach those people nationwide. So we pay for Google search terms. So what that means is that we pay per click. So somebody searches for medical aesthetic training, we actually have that term as something we pay for to come up higher in the search engine. So when people click on search for medical aesthetic training, hopefully we come up on the first page because we're paying for that. You can add other Google search terms for less expensive, that will cost you less money, but it's still something that you need to factor into your marketing budget. It's not always necessary. The other thing about Google is that also is integrated into your website is something called Google Analytics. So this is really important when developing your website. You can actually go to your Google Analytics dashboard and you can see who's coming to your site, where are they coming, which page are they landing on, how long are they staying there, when did they pop off. So it gives you a really good analysis of what's working and what's not working on your website. Facebook also has that. It's called Facebook Insights. So on your Facebook page, your business page, you'll hit Insights and you'll see how many people are engaging, how many people are liking these photos or those photos or whatever. So there's analysis devices integrated into the social media platforms and into your website that you can get a really good idea of what's working and what's not working. And then from there you can grow. This is something else that you'll hear people pursue you. Once you get into this industry, you'll be targeted by people who say, I can increase your search engine optimization. As soon as I answer the phone and somebody says that, I'm like, no, thank you, I'm good. And I hang up on them. You don't have to pay somebody for search engine optimization, but if it's just really not your wheelhouse, you can. I again encourage you to go with somebody very reputable. You should not be paying, as a small provider, should be paying $500, $1,000, or $1,500 a month to somebody for your search engine optimization. It's not money well spent. You can pay somebody far less. Think about trading services. Maybe you have somebody who comes to you for Botox and that's what they do. Trade with them. Maybe they can handle your Instagram account. We originally had the Savvy Agency handling our blogs and our Instagram, all of our social media stuff, and we found that they just didn't know enough about aesthetics to do that. Now, and then also the blog. So keeping up with our blogs is a challenge for us. And it's something that is a goal of ours in the next few months, is to start blogging about things on our website. When we had them doing our blogs, it just wasn't relevant content because I didn't know anything about aesthetics. So if you have somebody who knows about aesthetics and can address those things, or who can run your accounts and do that kind of social media stuff, think about trading them or paying them minimally. But when you start getting into other people who are actually calling you on the phone and trying to get you to pay them for that service, just be really cautious and do your homework and maybe ask for some references of other people that they've used. So I'm giving the Savvy Agency a reference for website development and managing those aspects. They also, at the end of every month, they go to Google Analytics and look at all of the results from the previous month, and they'll give us data. So they break it down for us. So we don't have to. You can do it. It's really simple, and it's really interesting to see where people are coming to you from. So that is something that I think is hugely important as you grow, to make sure that you're focusing on the right demographic, and you're giving them what they want, information that they want. So more about paying for marketing. Facebook, you can boost a post. Super easy to do. You probably have already seen this on your personal Facebook page, but to put a picture up and I'll say, do you want to boost this post? Yeah, boost that post. If it's something that you feel is really important, maybe it's a special you're having. So you're having this great special, a 2-for-1 filler special, boost that post. So when you go to boost the post, you'll get this other screen that comes up that says, what do you want to do? You can boost that post for $1 per day. You could boost that post for $25 a day. You can customize and streamline your audience of whose feed it comes up on. You all have seen those sponsored posts on Facebook that are really annoying that come up through your feed. So that's what you're going to do. But you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. You can do it for $1 a day, which is usually what I do. If I have a class, a special workshop or something that's coming up, I'll boost the post. It makes it public. So more than just the people who follow us can see it. If I have an event, I'll boost that event, and it'll just randomly come up on the demographic that I specify. And I'll do it for $1 a day. And I'll do it 2 weeks before the event. It cost me 14 bucks. It's pretty inexpensive. You can do the same thing on Instagram, but you don't have to spend a lot of money doing it. But it is a way to reach people who might otherwise not find you. It's called boosting your post. That's kind of, I think I've talked a lot about organic. We talked a lot about not paying for any of this, except for website development, which it's probably going to be a huge benefit. But we've also talked a little bit about how you can boost your posts on Facebook and on Instagram. I am totally available for questions. Does anybody have questions about anything? Business aspect, social media, anything that you may have encountered. We like to do the video content. Some of our most recent posts, our most engaging things have been the videos, the things that show us actually speaking and explaining what we do. And I think the thing about all of the social media is that it really gets people connected to you. And in this business, it's so personal that seeing you personally and having that warm, engaging rapport with your patients is what's going to draw them to you. There will be a recording. I'll post this recording on our YouTube and or on our website and or on our Facebook page. So yes, we'll post all of this, but we are also available anytime if you want to chat briefly with myself. I am available to talk about some of the social media and the business things that I've encountered in the last 7 years in this industry. Saskia Magner is also our new Chief Operating Officer and Business Development Specialist, and she can help with all aspects of business development, social media and business development too. So blogging is, I just had a question about blogging. How often do we blog? Unfortunately, we don't blog very often, but if you go to our website, you'll see our blog. I don't even remember when the last time we posted something on there. So we did a video shoot last month during our basic injectable class, and so we finally got to meet our Christine Brown, who's one of the co-owners of the Savvy Agency, and she went and talked to our whole group full of students. We had 12 students, and she said, "How did you guys find Pacific Northwest Athletics Academy?" And they said, well, most of them was from Google, which is great because we were spending money with Google, so we want that to happen. There was a large portion of the class that also came from out of state. So again, we know that our marketing is working, our national marketing campaign is working. But Christine wasn't happy with how we came up. I think we came up like 4th on the first page, and she told us You need to come up first, and you are doing the right thing. You're spending plenty of money. Didn't encourage us to spend any more money, but her suggestion was you need to blog more. So you need to increase your organic reach, and by blogging, that will accomplish that. So blogging is just writing a blog. So there's fashion bloggers who just talk about fashion. They have their own blog. They'll either have a video blog or just like a splash page blog where they just post stuff and people come to it and read it. Same thing with an aesthetics blog. You're just posting stuff. The one thing that I'm going to post about next is, which I'm going to try to work on today, is social media. So just doing a very short little article about social media, and I can put references in there, or I don't have to. It's just a blog. It's like a diary online that people can read. And you're going to want to use search terms, though, that people are going to search for too. So just think about that when you're writing your blog. But it's like a diary. That's the easiest way to explain it. Putting a blog up, gosh, once a week would be great. Every other week would be okay, and once a month would be fine. Any less than once a month is going to help, but I would encourage 2 times a month at the minimum. So the search engine that is the most beneficial is, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody, is Google. Google is huge. That's where most people come to us from. And it's the easiest, it's the most interactive. There's a reason that they're #1 in search engines. And that is definitely who drives the most traffic to our site and to our programs. So let's talk on the Instagram app, writing on pictures and things like that. You can actually do that within the app. They've really created a lot of the filters and a lot of the different tags and stuff that you see that are actually on your pictures. You can do that within the app. You don't need an extra app to do that. I create, like, if I'm running a special, I use an app called WordSwag. I think it costs $2.99 to download, but with WordSwag, you can pull up a picture, or you can just have a blank canvas to write stuff on. And then that becomes a photo that you can then post to Instagram. So if you're going to pay for anything that you can customize like that, I would go with WordSwag. It's what I use. It's really cool. But Instagram also has a lot of those different editing kind of ways. I love, Daniela just asked about new patients without Groupon. I didn't touch on Groupon or Living Social at all. And that's for a reason, because don't do it. It just doesn't convert into loyal patients who are going to stick with you. Those are the patients who are just going to jump from Groupon to Groupon to Groupon to Groupon. And those aren't the kind of patients you want. You want loyal patients who are going to stick with you for long term and also tell their friends about you, friends, family, whatever. So the best way to get new patients without doing the whole Groupon thing is by doing what we just talked about, is by putting yourself out there on Instagram, is by doing Facebook, is by having a great website. But more so than that is word of mouth. Aside from everything else we talked about, word of mouth, people actually talking to people, is what's going to generate new patients to your office. Also running specials, like so if you're just starting and you want more patients in the door, I love the bring a friend, you both get 5 units of talks free. You just got 2 new patients. Think about specials you can run, and then you're posting them on your social media sites. It's not costing you anything. Work with your reps. Your reps know how to generate new patients, but really when push comes to shove, it's all about word of mouth. And when you think about social media, breaking it down into even simpler terms, it's word of mouth. It's people telling people about you. It's you telling yourself about other people, but it has a much broader reach than if you just go out and start speaking. The other thing we always encourage is guerrilla marketing. So I just landed into this busy metropolitan, maybe I'm in the Pearl District and they opened up this little tiny place. Well, in the Pearl District, there's a med spa practically on every corner. This is downtown Portland, right? So I'm going to take my business cards and go to every business surrounding me in this, let's say, a 10-block radius. Guerrilla marketing, this is who I am. This is what I do. I'm going to visit all the salons and say, hey, if you send me new patients, I'm going to give you a great deal on your neuromodulator or your dermal filler. Create that relationship with these people who are in the beauty industry, hairstylists, estheticians. massage therapists, all kinds of people. Create a good relationship with them, something that's mutually beneficial for the both of you, and you'll see people start coming to you as referrals from these people. So I love guerrilla marketing. Get out there and just with your great business card that's got your website on there, your name, your contact information. A good starting marketing budget is a question I just got. You don't need to spend anything except for your website. You don't even need to spend any money on your website. So I would say a good starting marketing budget is, I would go with $2,000, probably maximum $2,000. One-page website, and you can build from there. I mean, if you need a website that's got multiple pages right at the get-go, then your marketing budget obviously is going to be much bigger than that. The bulk of your marketing budget when you start off is going to be your website. Beyond that, it's free. You don't need a marketing budget. Marketing budget also can include things like your business cards, your brochures, things like that. So you can definitely add on to that as well, but $2,000 should easily do it. I spent much less than that when I first started. Hashtags on Instagram. So people will follow certain hashtags, and I'm sorry I missed that little piece of it when we were talking about your Instagram posts. Hashtagging things that are going to draw people in. It's like searching for Restylane. So if you go hashtag Restylane, there are 500,000 plus followers. So people that are actively following Restylane, if you use that hashtag in there, hashtag Restylane, people who are following Restylane are going to see that post come up in their feed and they're going to see what you do. There's a flip side to that too, though. You want to make it your hashtag specific enough that you're not losing all these people, because 500,000 followers is a lot. So those broader searches, those broader hashtags are going to get lost. They're going to just kind of go to the bottom of the barrel. Other things, I just hashtagged Nova Threads. That has a few. I think it's got like 100,000 followers, maybe a little bit less. So knowing that those followers are going to maybe see my posts come up, they're going to know that I do Nova Threads. When you go to Instagram, you can go to search, and then you can go to you can search for either people or you can search for tags. And so I went to tags and I searched for hashtag Nova Threads, and I follow that now. So I can see now, it'll come up in my feed what other Nova Thread providers are doing. And every time somebody does a hashtag Nova Thread, I'll get that, I'll see it. How long before I made profit with my new biz? A month. So when I started my first business, my startup cost was my training. And then I got I registered my domain name, I registered with the state of Oregon, my business name, and I started a website, and I had word of mouth right away. I had a credit card, I bought my product on it. I paid off those expenses, which was under $5,000 startup easily. Might not have even been that much. And I've made that back in 1 month. So while sometimes the cost of starting these aesthetic businesses, like you can pay a ton of money, but you don't have to. That's one of the awesome things about this biz, is that you can start off small and grow as you profit. Another question, what is the average demographic for aesthetics? I think we all kind of know this answer. It's definitely women, starting to be much more men. But somebody asked me that question the other day, what the average age of my patient is, and I would say around 40 average. But of course, we see people on the much younger range of that and people on the much older range of that. So thanks everybody for attending today. I encourage any questions, please email me at wendy@PacificNorthwestAestheticsAcademy.com. Our next webinar will be on the 13th with an informational webinar, February 13th, and then March 6th will be the first paying webinar that we offer, and we'll be going over lists. So please be looking for that, and I hope to see you all again on a webinar soon.